Folks watching at home, welcome to a very special video here on the YouTube channel. Today, as you can see by this little graphic above me, we're doing something a little bit different. I have hosted a couple of, four to be precise now, this will be the fourth one, tournaments on my Twitch channel that I am dubbing Pure Modern. Now, for those of you who might be wondering, Doomwake, what is Pure Modern? Well, it is modern that is pure. You get it? But it's essentially modern with the exact same ban list, so every card that is currently banned in modern will still apply. The only difference is cards that were in Horizons 1, Horizons 2, and now Lord of the Rings off limits. That means Ragavan, Urza Saga, Orcish Bowmasters, Renin 6, Murktide Regent, Crashing Footfalls, Yawgmoth. The entire format is basically upended. And we have something a little bit special that is the format that is Pure Modern. Now, again, this is the fourth one of these that I have hosted. I plan on doing them a little more regularly in the future. The plan is going to be doing them with each new set release. So if you're interested, I will leave some information in the comments section down below with how you can maybe sign up for the next one, which at this point will be happening when Murders of Karloff Manor, I believe. We might have to wait a little bit longer for that one because I don't want to have them too close together. But the idea is that, like, every couple months, I think, is the schedule on that. But yeah, the tournament was a lot of fun. I hosted it on my Twitch channel, had feature matches for each round. We cut to a top 8. We had a single elimination bracket. It was an amazing event. Thanks again for all the players who participated, and thank you to everyone who watched. And if you missed it, you're in for some really, really spicy action. So I'm going to go ahead and bring you into round number 1. We're going to go through every single feature match up to and including the top 8. One important thing before we continue, please let me know in the comments section down below what you thought of the format, maybe some ideas on the format, potentially cards that could be banned, maybe some cards that could be unbanned, but please don't suggest fury. Without any further ado, I'll see you here in just a minute for round number 1. Folks, welcome. This is Pure Modern number 4. If you are new, what you are watching here, this is Modern if we didn't have any of the Horizon sets. On the top of your screen, we have Monkey Brain, who's going to be our featured player in this round, playing some Affinity, some old school Affinity, and then maybe a deck that you're more familiar with on the bottom in Boros Burn. If you do not have an opponent, please message them in Melee. If you cannot see their deck list, please try refreshing Melee. Alright, we have a couple of Frogmites here. Ooh, Affinity deck going off here. I believe it should be in the bottom left purple plot. Got a basic mountain here for our Burn player. A really, really good start from Monkey Brain over here. A couple of Frogmites with a cranial plating. Got an attack here from a Goblin Guide and a Swiss Spear. It's going to reveal an Inkmoth Nexus. We got a Frogmite trade for the Goblin Guide. Makes a lot of sense. Maybe don't want to block the Swiss Spear in fear of a burn spell. And we did play a land this turn, so there is a Searing Blaze on the Frogmite. But still have a creature in play. A couple creatures. Inventor's Fair gaining life. Is there a link to deck list? The tournament page should have, so just exclamation point Pure Modern, that tournament page should have the deck list. That is a new card. We got a Thousand Moons Smithy here for Monkey Brain, our Affinity player. That is really, really powerful card. It's going to enter the battlefield, make a giant construct token, and then if we so choose, we can tap 5 artifacts to flip it into a land. And then when that land is tapped for mana to cast, I believe, a creature or artifact spell, we're going to get another one of these massive constructs. So we're not going to go ahead and flip this Smithy. Are going to flip the Smithy. Drew a Gingerbrute. That's going to make another construct token. And we are kind of just getting in there. We can actually cranial plating the Gingerbrute, make it unblockable if we so choose. Oh, do we just have a lethal Inkmoth? We do. Right, yeah, lethal Inkmoth. I I mean, there's two cards in the hand. Two cards in the hand for the burn opponent. Again, chat, if you do not have an opponent, if your opponent has not shown up yet, please message them in Melee. There should be a chat in Melee. You can message them to coordinate the match. If you maybe you both made a match, if you made a match, maybe check to see your opponent's name, see if they made a match. But there are means of coordinating that. Sidana, thank you very much for the 24-month resub. Welcome back. Got a mountain here. We did have a removal spell for that lethal Ink Moth attack, but I mean these gnome soldier tokens from Thousand Moon Smithy are just kind of going in here. We got a portable hole that's going to make another gnome. That's going to kill one of the blockers. And then we should theoretically have lethal, where we can go plating up the Gingerbrute, activate it, send everything. The Swiss Spear blocks one gnome token, removal spell on the Gingerbrute, and that is going to do it. Our Affinity player in Monkey Brain is going to take game number 1, and we'll get to sideboarding here in just a moment. All right, I have to close the replay and open it back up for sideboarding games. That was cool. Is there an agreed-upon best deck in this format, or is there a few? I mean, I would say that maybe the consensus... Smithy is correct. I would say maybe the consensus best deck is probably either Shadow or Amulet. Those are the two decks that are most represented in this event. I believe there are 7 Shadow decks and 4 Amulet decks, I think. So those are probably 1 and 2 if I had to, maybe create a tier 1. But past that, there's a lot of diversity. There's only 1 Humans deck and 1 Druid deck today. But yeah, the other tournaments, the first 3 tournaments have been won by Dredge, Shadow, and Druid, so. Is there anybody else that is having issues creating a match, maybe waiting on their opponent or such? Alright, we got game 2 already starting here. We got, what's up, Ride or Die? We got a Membrane, an Ornithopter, and a Spire of Industry, and that's going to be a Searing Blaze taking out this Ornithopter. Getting Kraken here with the Swiss Spear. It's going to throw Monkey Brain down to 14. Let's see what the follow-up here is. We have a Darksteel Citadel and a Patchwork Automaton. It's going to be pretty hard for the burn deck to kill. Interesting that we chose not to attack with the Memnite. I don't think we're blocking with it, but we'll have to see. Yeah, am I officially an arena streamer now? Is that what's happened? Have they got me? I think the worms have gotten me. We're gonna Wear Tear the Memnite. Okay, miss land drop here from our burn player. Land number 3 from Monkey Brain. Is this an Etch Champion? It sure is. And that Etch Champion is likely unkillable because Darksteel's indestructible. Etched has protection, and the only other creature you can kill is the Patchwork, but you need to spend an additional 2 mana to kill that, so... okay, Riftbolt will do the job, because we can, even if we miss a land drop here, we can suspend the Riftbolt and then cast it, pay the 2 on upkeep, so we'll have to see if that is the plan here for our burn player. Tricky spot, though. Etch Champion, especially if there is a Cranial Plating to follow up here. Cranial Plating, that's going to be 4 artifacts equipped. That's a 6 power unblockable creature. We're making some mana here. Interesting, we're making blue mana. There's the plating. Even probably get in here with the Patchwork, right? I mean, worst case scenario, Chris top deck has 1 spell. Well, I guess it's awkward though. You might want to block the Swiss Spear with Patchwork Automaton. Yeah, I think I like this. So now the Riftbolt is coming off suspend. Do you kill the Patchwork or do you go upstairs? I don't even... Alright, we're going to go after the Patchwork. So we're going to have to spend 2 mana on that. Patchwork's going to die, but the Etched Champion still has protection because that plating is the 3rd artifact. And not only does it have protection, it's very likely a 2-turn clock. And with that Riftbolt going not upstairs, it's going to be... I don't know, we'll have to see if there's a Lightning Bolt here. No Lightning Bolt. Choosing to hold up some mana here for Chris top deck. Second plating. It's not going to be quite lethal. It's going to be an attack for 10, unless there's an Ornithopter. No Ornithopter. So this is going to put Chris down to 1, and we'll see if the burn deck has 3 burn spells. That's what we're going to need here. 3 bolts would do it. Boros Charm Bolt would also do it, right? That's 7-10. Well, we are in the tank here for Chris top deck. That is Smash to Smithereens. A little late to the party on that one. And then a single bolt is not lethal. That's only 6 damage. And at 1 life against the next champion, that is kind of tough. Chris Top Deck puts the GGs in chat, and I think we have our winner here in just a second. We'll get an attack here from the Etch champion, but we, I believe, might have a lethal attack here. See if there's anything post-combat for our burn player. We got the GGs in the chat. Goblin Grenade. Well, unfortunately for Monkey Brain, Monastery Swift Spear, aka Taylor Swift, is not a goblin, at least on Magic Online. Yeah, we got the GGs here for our players. Etch Champion just kind of soloing this match. Or this game, at least. Etch Champion Cranioplating, still Splinter Twin, even in 2024. Congratulations to Monkey Brain. We're watching Mana Wargs on the bottom of your screen with some Jeskai Phoenix, and then we have Stanku on the top of your screen. If I remember correctly, I believe, playing 8-Rack. So. Speaking of 8-Rack, there's one of them. Now, I want to take a look at this deck list. Is there actually 8 copies of the rack? Or are they lying to me? It's only 4-Rack. It's only 4-Rack. We got 4 racks, 4 waste knots, 4 smallpox, 4 thoughtseize, but no copies of the enchantment Shrieking Affliction. Only 4 copies of the rack. The melee page is messed up with encoding, so probably they were having issues. Yeah, I think it's just melee. Because it's so weird. It's like some rounds players can see deck list, other rounds they can't. Some people can see deck list, some people can't, and I did make deck list public, but I think Melee might just be having some issues. I can only do so much, you know? I'm trying over here. I can only do so much. Honestly, if you guys are having issues seeing deck lists, if you go to the Pure Modern page, if you just go to the Melee page, you should be able to see everybody's deck list. Yeah. Deck lists are public here, so if for some reason you're in the event and you can't see your opponent's deck, just go to this page, find their name, and you should be able to see it, so. Anyways, what do we got here? We got a Rack and a Waste Knot. Interesting, the discard spell deck against the Phoenix deck. This should be very, very interesting. Looks like we have a Manamorphose here for Mana Wargs, going into a Consider with a red mana floating. Looks like we binned another copy of Consider. Really trying to find some Phoenixes. What do we have here? Is it Charm? Okay, that's a 3rd spell. See if we get a couple Phoenixes here. Oh, I didn't realize. Is it Charm against Waste Knot, huh? That's an interesting pairing. Okay. Alright, the old draw 2, discard 2. We're gonna fire off a Gut Shot. That must mean we have Demolich, right? Because that was our 4th spell. Manamorphose, Consider, Charm, Gut Shot. So, unless there was a mishap from Mana Wargs, I imagine there's probably a Demolich here. Yeah, okay. Maybe 2? No, just 1 Demolich. So, Demolich and a Phoenix versus 16 life. Still 3 cards in hand, so currently not under the rack. That's important. Stanku really wants to find a Black Source and a Wrench Mind, I would imagine. Because that would let, discard 2 cards, trigger Waste Knot, get under the rack, make a blocker, make another blocker, potentially for Demolich. But this is one of those tricky spots where something like a Liliana of the Veil, not so great on this board. We could just sacrifice the Phoenix, maybe get it back next turn. So that's kind of a tricky spot here for our Rack player. We have Smallpox, which again, not that great. You can just discard Phoenix. We'll have to see. I mean, you do lose a card and a land, so it's maybe not likely to get back the Phoenix this turn. We'll have to see what leftovers ManaWorks has. We're also going to see a Waste Not trigger here from whatever ManaWorks discards. Looks like we're discarding a Bolt, so that's going to be another card here for Stenku. Yep, Phoenix gets sacked, land gets sacked. So in order to get this Phoenix back, we are going to need something like a Metamorphose or a Gut Shot. Maybe like Cantrip, Gut Shot, or Metamorphose, 2/1 mana spells. Does get us one under the rack here. And this is going to be a big turn. If it's just Demolish attack with nothing else... Okay, we have a Preordain to start. Really wants to find one of the free spells. 2 to the bottom for Preordain. We got a second Preordain. Do we find a Gut Shot? 2 to the bottom. Will we go to combat with no Gut Shot? This is effectively the deciding point. If this Phoenix comes back, I think Stanku's in a really bad spot. If it doesn't, I actually don't hate Stanku's position. Okay, we have a Steam Vents. And, oh, but we don't have a spell to get the Phoenix back pre-combat. So we're going to see a Demolish attack that's going to flash back a Preordain. And that is the third spell, but unfortunately for ManaWorks, it's the third spell in combat. So that's not going to get that Phoenix back. So Stenku falls to 11, and now if there is a follow-up Land Liliana to clear the Demolish... Okay, Inquisition to start off. Take a look at the grip. Looks like we revealed a hand that was... Ooh, it was Consider Gutshot Scalding Tarn, so the Gutshot must have been found off of the Preordain. That is tough. That is really tough. Was really hoping for that Gutshot pre-combat. So the hand right now is Gutshot Scalding Tarn, so really needs to find a cantrip here. I'm going to take one from the rack. What did ManaWorks pick up for the turn? Just going to go right to combat. Fire off a Demolish. I'm going to target Preordain. What are we looking for here? We're looking for... Kind of awkward, because if you find cantrips, you can't get back the Phoenix post-combat. We did bottom both. Amalgam is our resident Dredge expert. Okay, Demolish gonna put Stanku down to 7. 4 cards in hand for ManaWorks, so the rack is less than ideal, less useful here. Right, exactly. So, yeah, it's weird. The Demolish kind of wants to find cantrips for next turn, but you don't want to cast them this turn, since ideally you would want to save them for the Phoenix next turn, right? Ooh, okay. Interesting. We're going to go for a Hive attack. Did we find a Bolt? Okay, no Bolt. So the Hive is going to eat the Phoenix. Well, actually, no. Hive has to eat the Bolt, right? Because this is just lethal. You just go Demolish, Flashback, Bolt. That's 7. So maybe a misstep here from Stanku. Probably needed to eat the Bolt. There is only one Bolt, so in theory you could have survived, but... Let's see if ManaWorks sees the line. ManaWorks does, in fact, see the line. So that is going to be game number 1 here, going to our Phoenix player. Yeah, I mean, Demolish is a hell of a card. Looking at the mono black deck, if you take a look at the deck list, we can see what players are going to sideboard here. Hold on. What am I looking at? The Tron one. So, let's see. If we look at the mono black deck list here, it does have 4 copies of Leyline of the Void, so that is, and 2 surgicals, so a lot of graveyard heat here. Excuse me. Past that, probably doesn't want a ton else. The spot removal's not very good. So yeah, looking towards these graveyard hate spells, and then as far as our Phoenix player, if I can find the list here, am I blind? I think I might be blind. Here we go. Wait, no. Round 2. There we go. Alright, for our Phoenix player, we have Wear Tears, Crypts, Blood Moons, Paths, a Borrower, Brotherhood's End, and a Claw. Probably want Wear Tear to kill the Rax and Waste Knots. Probably don't want Tormod's Crypt, Blood Moon, not too much. Not doing a ton here. Path to Exile, not a lot of creatures. Although there is Shieldred's, 2 copies, so I might want to go towards Path to Exile. Past that, maybe you could consider Brotherhood's End to kill the Rack, but it doesn't kill Waste Knots, so that could be a little awkward. We are vibing. All right, we'll see if they're ready for game number 2. Looks like players are still currently sideboarding. So, I want to start. We'll start Gambas after this match. Yeah, we'll start doing Gambas. Kind of forgot to for the first couple of matches. Yeah, no Crackling Drake is definitely interesting. Maybe a little bit weaker to those sideboard graveyard hate spells, like we did see the 4 ley lines and the 2 surgicals. So, going to be interesting to see how the Phoenix deck kind of prepares for those in the post board games. Maybe just start hard casting Phoenixes. Can we do this game? They're already starting. Okay, I'll open it for 30 seconds. Who wins game 2? Phoenix, Rack. Alright, it's going to be open for 30 seconds, alright? Go, 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 go. 30 seconds, go, go, go. You're betting on just this game, don't forget. Who is going to win game number 2, Phoenix or the Rack? Again, you're only betting on game 2. Everybody's slamming the over on the Rack when they see the ley line. Do we have any Phoenix believers? Any Phoenix believers? No? Any Phoenix believers? There's got to be some of you. You're getting insane odds right now on Phoenix. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we have a ley line of the Void for our Rack player, but as you'll notice, there are no sources of black mana. Does have a demolition field, so even if our 3rd land is also another colorless source, we can pop the field to get a black mana. And looks like for Mana Wargs, we got a couple of cantrips to start off. But yeah, I mean, taking a look at the sideboard again from the perspective of the Phoenix player, if we look at the sideboard, we wanted to talk about what do we have in the face of Leyline. There's really not a ton of threats here. I mean, we have to really start hard casting Phoenixes and Demoliches, or potentially go to this one Brazen Borrower in the sideboard. But past that, there's really nothing here against Leyline. Not even an Odawara in the mana base to bounce it. So we do see that Demolition Field being fired off here. That's going to get a black source for Stanku, and maybe going to follow that up with something like a discard spell, Inquisition or Thoughtseize. Yeah, it does have Wear Tear in the sideboard, so that is something to consider. And with, knowing the Leylands are there and the presence of the Rack and the Waste Knots, definitely likely would have boarded in those Wear Tears. Does not look like there's one in hand, because he probably would have fired it off by now. We're gonna Charm to counter the Thoughtseize, okay? Sure, wants to protect the hand. Alright, and what is the follow-up here for Mana Wargs? A couple of blue mana. Looks like maybe a Manamorphose? Yep, so Manamorphose is going to get us 2 mana. We'll see if white mana is added to the pool. Nope, it's 2 blue. Preordain really looking for a copy of that Wear Tear to be able to answer this ley line. We have a Consider. Okay, there's the Hallowed Fountain, untapped. So here is the Wear Tear. It's going to just fire it off main phase. Ooh, and that's even spell number 4 for Demolich. Wow, very, very good turn here for Mana Wargs. And now the graveyard's back online. taking a look at what's been exiled so far, no Phoenixes, so still got 4 of those in the deck, presumably. Hoo, double waste on here for Stanku. So, is it Charm? Offline officially. Okay. Attack with Demolich, flashback the Wear Tear, kill one of the Waste Knots. Maybe a second Demolich was drawn for the turn? No, we're just going to pass the turn. Passing the turn on this. End step, consider. Fetch the Tarn, get a tap Steam Vent. And then we're going to untap. What is the follow-up here for Manawargs? Should have played 4 Wear Tear. Yeah, Manawargs does have 4 Wear Tear in the sideboard today. Looks like potentially a Fatal Push. How many Fatal Pushes are in the Mono Black deck? Let me take a look. The Mono Black deck has 4 copies of Fatal Push, so we might be seeing a Fatal Push here. Oh, and also worth noting, Demolition Field going after Hallowed Fountain, that's going to cut the white mana off entirely. There is no basic planes in this deck. So that Faithful Mending, not going to be able to be flashbacked. Worth noting. Okay, we're going to resolve the Mending. Yeah, and also Mending into a Waste Knot is kind of tough. So that's going to give Stanku a 2/2 and a card. And as we talked about, likely does have the Fatal Push in hand if we're firing off this Demolition Field. I guess true. Yeah, they have Manamorphose. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Manamorphose can give white mana for flashback. Yep, there's a path to exile on, or excuse me, a Fatal Push on the Demolich. And notably, Stanku there did have 2 mana pit left up to potentially pay for a Is It Charm. Okay, we're going to Manamorphose post-combat. Now, what's the spell count? It's 2, right? No, 3. Did we cast the Preordain this turn? Yeah, I think it's Preordain, Mending, Morphos, right? So we have 4 spells for Demolich, I think. I'm pretty sure the Preordain was cast this turn. Yeah, it was, okay. And a Demolich in hand, so that's pretty good here for Manawargs. Yeah, Demolich from the graveyard. Not enough spells left over to cast that second Demolich from the graveyard. We're going to bolt the token, and Stanku's on 1 card in hand, facing down 2 Demoliches. This is a pretty quick clock. The math, I mean, by my math, 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. That would be a 2-turn clock. The bolt in the graveyard could also maybe speed things up a little bit, depending on what the leftovers are for Manawargs. It's an Inquisition. Get a peek at what that last card is. It is a Flooded Strand, so no discard here for Waste Knot. Now, the Blast Zone can... The mana's a little rough here for Stanku. We can take the Blast Zone up twice here, but that only gets us to 3. And we need to get to 4 for the Demoliches. So, Demolich is going to go in here. I would imagine flashing back a Bolt and a Consider. Yeah, looks like that's going to be the case. Yeah, if we had the ability to get 1 more counter on the Blast Zone here for Stanku, I'd like our position a little bit more. But turns out Demolich is, if you can get it on the battlefield quickly, is a hell of a card. Provides a ton of value. Alright, Bolt's going to put Stanku to 13. Attack's going to put Stanku to 5. Yes, this is the same game that started with a Leyline. Mana Wargs was able to cantrip a couple of times, eventually find that copy of Wear Tear, who won game 1. Phoenix player did so. This is Phoenix player is up a game. Yeah, imagine every single person slamming the over when they saw the Leyline of the Void against Phoenix, and Mana Warg's just putting on a clinic here. Step 1, find the answer to Leyline. Step 2, you figure it out from here. And if I remember correctly, I don't think there's any damnations. That is a copy of the rack, and that is going to do it. Mana Wargs, our Phoenix player, taking the match 2-0 over Stenku on Mono Black Rack. Okay, so round number 3. Here we have for you Dredge on the top of your screen and Affinity on the bottom. Both these players are 2-0 in the event. We did see Monkey Brain earlier on camera in round number 1 with this sweet little Affinity deck. Got some really nice stuff going on. If you're watching this on YouTube, I will be posting the link to all of the deck list in the description down below, so be sure to check that out if you would like to see any of these deck lists and potentially participate in future Pure Modern tournaments, because I think this format is phenomenal. I like this format a lot. Yes, there are 2 Dredge players. Confirmed 2 Dredge players. Alright, so what do we have in the graveyard here for Amalgam? We have an Amalgam, 2 Thugs, couple of Otherworldly Gazes. Probably going to cast one of those Otherworldlies on the end step. And we hit 1 Chill. So here's going to be the big question. Can we find a Narcomoeba this turn to give us some sort of defense against this patchwork? Potentially the follow-up from Monkey Brain could be, say, a land and a Cranial Plating, which would be, not that big of an attack, right? It's only a 6, I guess a 7 with the patchwork trigger. So not too much pressure, but well, we didn't find the Narcomoeba, but we did find the 3rd Creeping Chill. So that's going to put Monkey Brain to 11, gain a little bit of life here for Amalgam. And red. So Conflict Rate is good, but it's not going to kill the Patchwork Automaton. So I'm interested in, are we just going upstairs? Oh no, we're just going to Ox, right. Yeah, we can just Ox. I forgot we hit the Ox. So yeah, you can Ox. Ox is 8 cards, right? I'm gonna pop out the graveyard so you can see it a little bit better. So Ox is 8 cards, which means we can get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4. We can only leave 1 card. That's actually kind of awkward. Ideally, we want to leave at least 3, right? The Conflagrate and the 2 Amalgams. But if we Ox, we can only leave 1 of those 3. Still probably worth it. Just getting the Ox into play, getting to discard, at least we know of at least 1 Thug in hand for Amalgam. So, probably worth it. See what they choose to do, though. Oh, okay, we're just gonna Conflagrate upstairs. Okay, take 6. So Monkey Brain's gonna go to 5, but notably, 3 chill... Actually, is that all 4 chills down? Because there's 1 in the graveyard. Yeah, so 1 chill got discarded, and then 3 exiled. So, as far as Monkey Brain is concerned, there are no creeping chills to be worried about, and, there we go. The Shambling Suit. This is a one-of in Monkey Brain's deck list. Without Modern Horizons 2, we don't have access to Nettlecyst, so we got to go a little bit deep sometimes. So, Shambling Suit is going to be the play. Not the most impressive card. Doesn't have evasion by itself. Now we're going to see that Oxyvagonus get back, and we have plenty of extra stuff to get rid of in the graveyard and keep all of the cards we want to keep. So that is going to be the play here for Amalgam. And yeah, that's going to get back at least 2 prized Amalgams, maybe hit a Narcomoeba off of this, and it's going to be a lot of stuff on the battlefield. Not sure if Monkey Brain is going to be able to survive this next attack. Couple of Thugs discarded. We can mill at least Couple of those. Yep, now we hit the Narcomoebas. That's going to get 4 Amalgams back. We have 2 Narcomoebas. Yeah, this one seems all but over here for our Affinity player. Yeah, Eldraine Draft All-Star Shambling Suit. I don't even know if that's a true statement because I did not play a single game of Eldraine Limited, but it could be. We go to the end step here, put a whole bunch of Amalgam triggers on the stack. So we're going to get 4 of those guys back. So 4 Amalgams, 2 Narcos, and that Ox of Agonis. Now, what is... I mean, I can't even really think of anything to get Monkey Brain out of this one. Typically in these spots, you would think of something like Urza Saga Shadow Spear. Obviously, without Horizons 2, that's no longer on the table. I'm not even sure. I don't think there's a Shadow Spear in Monkey Brain's deck. Just pulling up the deck list for posterity's sake. Yeah, no Shadow Spear in this deck list, so not on the table. So we'll have to see what the play is here, but I'm not really convinced that we can survive this next attack. Can play some chump blockers. No, there are no red cards. This is the deck list here from Monkey Brain. No red cards. The only colored spells are actually Thousand Moon Smithy, Portable Hole, and Thoughtcast. It's an Azorius deck list. So no burns, no reach here for Monkey Brain. There's that Smithy. So we can make an extra blocker. So with 4 blockers, that's still taking exactly lethal. Block Ox and 3 Amalgams, take 5. So we still need a 5th blocker. Without a 5th blocker, we are dead on the battlefield. Yep. All right. That is going to do it. Dredge is going to take game number 1. Now, typically with decks like Affinity and Dredge, game 1 situations may be a little dicey. And usually, we gain a lot of sideboard cards. The sideboard is really where you want to get to for those matchups. So if we take a look at the Affinity player's sideboard, we have 2 Grafdigger's Cage, and that's really it. I guess you could maybe bring in Metallic Rebuke to help counter Ox of Agonis and Cathartic Reunion, but that's not that great of an idea. I mean, maybe. But yeah, the 2 cages, not entirely sure why Orvar's in the sideboard. There is no Archon of Cruelty, so that might have been an oversight from Monkey Brain. But yeah, we have 2 Grafdigger's Cage, and that's really it. And then as far as Shatters from our Dredge player, we have a couple of Wear Tears, a couple of Lightning Axes, maybe a couple of Portable Holes to take care of those Grafdigger's Cages. So those are the sideboards. I keep forgetting to do Gambas. Let's do a Gamba for game 2. Who wins game 2? Affinity, Dredge. All right, I'll put the Gamba up for 1 minute chat. Go, go, go. Gamba. You're voting on just game 2. I'll check Gamba. Any Gambas? CN for President, thank you for the 25-month resub. Welcome back, CN for President. Okay, let's get you into game 2 here very, very shortly. It looks like players are still sideboarding. Still want to create. I would like to watch. There we go. Game number 2. Remember, our Dredge player, Amalgam, has taken the first game. I see. We have a bit of a skill issue here. On the draw with Gemstone Caverns, keeping 7. You never, ever want to see that if you're on the other side of the table. So we'll have to see. And Monkey Brain kept 7 as well, so maybe has one of those Grafdigger's Cages. We got a Spire of Industry and an Ornithopter. Very, very slow start here for Monkey Brain. And you have to imagine if there was a Grafdigger's Cage in hand, we probably would have cast it. So what type of hand would we keep? Just a bunch of payoffs, I guess? Interesting. Okay, there's Thrilling Discovery. Get a Thug and a Silver Smote in the graveyard, hitting an Imp, and hitting another Imp. I mean, that's about as bad as it gets if you're an Affinity player here. Turn 1, double Creeping Chill, and we also milled an Oxyvagonus and an Otherworldly Gaze. That's tough. We're gonna need something like a Grafdigger's Cage here. And that's also assuming that Amalgam doesn't have a way to answer it. There are those 3 Wear Tears in the sideboard. All right, Barbecue. After this round, I will award you the victor, and I will remove T-Spain from the tournament. Just wait till after this round, or after this match, rather. Yeah, 14 to 25. Actually, you know what, Barbecue? You can just submit the result for you. Just submit the result to OU, and then I'll do it after. Okay, decent turn 2 here for Monkey Brain. We got a Plating, a Bauble, Sting in play, Frogmite, Memnite, but assuming his Oxyvagonus hits literally anything, it's going to be really hard to recover. We are going to go for that Ox. I guess, thankfully for Monkey Brain, you didn't get, Amalgam didn't hit a Conflagrate yet, but it's not looking great here for our resident Affinity player. Okay, discard the hand. Dredge a whole bunch with these Stinkweed Imps. And I mean, this is kind of just what happens when you don't show up with enough graveyard hate. We got 2 Grafdigger's Cages and a Dream, and we did not find them. So this is kind of where we are at. Even hit the Narcomoeba to have the flying blocker for Plating Ornithopter. It's about as, bad as it could have been. Yep, so here's a bunch of Amalgam triggers. I was very confused as to why the Orvars were in the deck. Or in the sideboard. Yeah, that one's... I mean, yeah, that one's only really good against Archon. Not the best without Archon. Alright, here's a whole bunch of Amalgams coming into play, and by a whole bunch, I mean 3. Cracking a Bauble. Yeah, like I said, without the presence of something like Shadow Spear to gain a bunch of life, it's not really... Oh, there's 4 Amalgams, rather, excuse me. It's just not a great way out of this if you're Monkey Brain. Like, you have 3 blockers, you can technically not die on the board, but you have to lose your entire battlefield. So we have a Springleaf Drum here for a Monkey Brain. Yeah, as is, you can block Ox and 2 3s and hit you. There's 10 coming at you, but again, you have to lose your entire battlefield. So Monkey Brain is going to surrender, and that is going to do it. Amalgam advancing to 3-0 with a win over Affinity. So here we are, round number 4 of the Pure Modern event. We have a 3-0 match for you guys here. Spicy Leche on the top of your screen, playing Jun Shadow and mulliganing to 4. That's kind of tough. And then on the bottom of your screen, we have Creativity that we just saw. The Creativity targets in this format, because we don't have Archon of Cruelty, there are 2 copies of Atraxa, 1 copy of Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, and then in the sideboard, we actually have some more targets as well. So let me get that list pulled up for you here real quick. So here is the Creativity list. The Atraxas and the Emrakul that I mentioned, and then in the sideboard we have an Iona, an Elishnorn, and 2 Terastodons. So that's kind of the Creativity list. Normal Creativity fare: Teferi, Fable, Binding, Preordain, Creativity, Pierce Bolt. And then as far as the Shadow deck is concerned, it's a little bit more aggressive. We have Swift Spear, Soul Scar, Death Shadow, Questing Druid, Scourge of the Skyclaves, along with 4 Battle Rage and 4 Mutagenic Growth. So going to be interesting to see how this match plays out. All right, so we have a preordain here for creativity. And turn one, we're going to go Bauble into Swift Spear. So what that tells me, I know it looks a little weird to play the Bauble before the Swift Spear, but that means that Spicy Leche very likely has a fetch land in hand and wanted to clear the top of their deck before, wanted to get maximum looks at drawing a spell. So we're going to go for the second Bauble. We're going to fetch that card away. Doesn't like that one. Really needs to find some kind of threat here. Okay, doesn't have a threat. Maybe has an end step questing druid. Something along those lines. See if this is a Teferi. Teferi is kind of exactly what Death from Above is looking for. Now, as far as the removal spells are concerned for the Shadow side versus the tokens from Creativity, we have 4 Lightning Bolt and 1 Fatal Push. That's the removal that we're looking at. But that removal is no good in the face of this Teferi. And also no questing druid. This game is slowly slipping away here from Leche. If there's a creativity and a fetch land next turn, we are probably all done here. Unless I guess we can double bolt Teferi, but that's not really where you want to be. Maybe he has a Scourge. Okay. So, nice little threat here for Leche. But again, land creativity is just going to be really hard to beat. Yeah, there's the fetch. There's the Dwarven Mine. We can even instant speed the creativity. We don't even have to do it now. Okay, we're going to go for binding. So no creativity. Soulscar Mage. It's a threat, not the threat that you ideally want. Okay, that's the threat that you ideally want. Another Scourge is a really good follow-up here for Leche. There's another Dwarven Mine. It's possible we were saving the creativity for 2, but looks like that's not the case. So we're going to get rid of the second Scourge. A couple of blockers here for Soulscar. And Leche is on empty. Death from Above only has 2 cards in hand. What's up, JS? Okay, so we're going to crack the Bauble. We're going to send the Soulscar at Teferi. Likely see a chump block. And yeah, I mean, at this point, Leche is going to pick up Gigantha. Essentially, Leche looking for threats or questing druid, and Death from Above looking for creativity. So it's kind of a race to who finds their big payoff first. We're going to bounce that Soulscar to get a card deeper. Attack for 1, and no creativity. So Leche dodged a bullet for another turn. Yeah. Yeah, imagine you in this position where you crack the Bauble, you take a look at your opponent's card, you see that it's an Indomitable Creativity. I don't even think I'd let them draw the card. I think I would just concede right there. As we see a Xander's Lounge being fetched here for Death from Above. Can you get a shout out for your opponent? Noix? Noix. Noix? Is Noix in chat? Oh, never mind. They're there. Cool. Perfect. Well, there's the creativity. Here's an Atraxa, and I would imagine this is all she wrote. I mean, we talked about the removal in Leche's deck. There's not really much here. Oh, there was a hard cast Atraxa. I missed it. Never mind. I mean, good enough, right? When you just draw all of your lands. I mean, this happens a lot in Modern, too, like traditional Modern, where you just get to 8 mana hard cast an Archon. It's good enough. Yeah, Leche, I don't really think can beat this. I don't know. Like Fetch Shock, Tamer Battle Rage, and the Shadow can trade for the Atraxa, but we are off it. That is game number 1 going to our creativity player. I gotta give it to Death from Above. I've been looking at a lot of these deck lists and seeing a lot of these games play out. I think Death from Above might have the best deck in the tournament so far, so we will have to see. We'll take a look at sideboards here. Looks like Eric, aka Spicy Leche, has some Alpine Moons to maybe stop Dwarven Mine. Those could be good. Thoughtseize, pretty decent. Past that, not really a lot else. You could Abrupt Decay for Teferi, but that's not the best answer to Teferi. Not really a breach matchup. You kind of just want to get them dead as quickly as possible. Maybe Terminate to help beat or resolve the Traxa. I don't know. And then as far as Death from Above is concerned, so we have the additional targets that we talked about, the two Terracodons, the Elishnorn, Grand Cenobite, and the Iona. I don't know if any of those are better than Atraxa or Emrakul against the Jund Shadow deck, so probably not going to go towards those. Definitely going to bring in these Veil of Summers against the Thoughtseize deck, though. Those are coming in for sure. And then probably not much else. Like maybe Brotherhood's End to clean up the 1-drops, but I don't even know if you need that. Yeah, I guess you could Iona on black, but like, the theory is that maybe you don't even care if Atraxa dies because you're just drawing 5 cards off it anyways, and there's only one Terminate, so yeah, we'll have to see. I think I would lean towards Atraxa Emrakul, but I guess I wouldn't be shocked 100% if the Iona came in. Yeah, you could Iona on red to cut Team or Battle Rage. That's maybe more relevant. Alright, so game number 2. Spicy is going to be on the play with their Jund Shadow deck. Yeah, depends on the board state. There's definitely some spots where I could see Iona cooking. We see both players keeping 7 this time. Spicy did have an unfortunate mulligan to 4 last game, so that didn't help matters. So we got a Soul Scar and a Bauble. We're going to crack that Bauble and see what we find. Got a Jetmir's Garden. Would you consider Triomes to be honorary Modern Horizons cards? Are we going to go that deep? No, I don't think we're going to go that deep. Right Rider says, what is pure modern? Modern without supplemental products. Everything else is the same, just no Horizons 1, 2, or Lord of the Rings. Not a lot going on this game. We got a Soulscar Mage from Spicy. Not doing a ton else, though. And just making some land drops here for creativity. Creativity player doesn't have a ton of early stuff. I mean, we have the option to fetch Triome and go for Binding if we so choose, which it looks like that's what's happening. No, we're going to Remand the Seek the Beast. I think. Nope, we're going to Bolt. Bolt Spell Pierce, that's even better than Remand Seek the Beast. That's a really good turn here for a creativity player. Right Rider says, what about the cards from like Counterspell from MH2 but isn't a Horizons card? So if the card was introduced into Modern from a Horizons set, it is not legal. That includes reprints, Counterspell, Fire Ice, Lava Dart, Factor Fiction, all of those reprints that are in Modern only because of Horizons, those are also not legal. Got a Thoughtseize here. It's going to see a creativity is going to be selected. The remainder of the hand is... Oh, that's a really good hand. Imagine you Thoughtseize and you see your opponent's hand of Teferi, Fable, Binding, Creativity. It's going to be an uphill battle here for our Jund Shadow player. That is a tough hand to see off the Thoughtseize. Bolt's going to clean up the Fable token. We're going to take a draw step here. Also, missed land drop here for Lecce. Oh. Okay. Well, I mean, the game wasn't necessarily over, but yeah, it was going to be pretty hard for Lecce to come back from that, missing a couple of land drops, and that is going to do it. So we have Lecce, Death from Above advancing to 4-0. I really do think that Death from Above probably has the best deck in this tournament, so congratulations to them. Do we have an Amulet? Ah, skill issue. All right, so Jeskai Phoenix, what do we have here? Flooded Strand for a Steam Vents, maybe a little cantrip action. Yeah, there's a Preordain. That's another... Well, no, Preordain was legal the last one. Yeah, okay. Because Preordain was... Yeah, Preordain... When did... Which ban list did Preordain get unbanned? I'm trying to remember. I think it was before August. It might not have been, actually. Might have been right around that time. Okay, 3 mana here for Donkin. We have Spelunking. It's going to let him draw a card. Put a land into play if Donkin so chooses. Thinking about which land we want to put into play. Why is Valakut not legendary? You know, Stu, I ask myself that question every single time I queue into Amulet. I still don't have an answer for you. Not 100% positive. Probably should be. Maybe Simic Growth Chamber should also be legendary. Amulet while you're at it. Okay, so we got a Growth Chamber into an Explorer. We're going to play a Forest and maybe pass the turn. We got a Grazer. Grazer's going to throw a land into play. We got another same Growth Chamber, rather. Pick up Forest. Yeah, it is the World Tree. Got a Preordain here for Mana Wargs. Would you look at that? Aspiring Spike coming in hot with a massive raid. Thank you very, very, very much for the raid, Spike. Welcome, everybody, from Spike Stream. You may notice there's some interesting things about this battlefield. We are playing the 4th ever Pure Modern Tournament, a tournament that I have held. If you're interested in the deck list, you can type !Pure Modern, see all of the deck lists from today's event. And what is Pure Modern? It is basically Modern without supplemental products. So no Horizons 1, 2, or Lord of the Rings. Everything else is the same ban list. This is our feature match here for number 4. Both these players are 3 and 1. We have Mana Wargs on Jeskai Phoenix versus Donkin on Primeval Titan. We see a Titan cast. It's going to pick up a Boros Garrison and a Slayer Stronghold. That is going to haste the Titan, and Mana Wargs has had enough. Game number 1 going to our Amulet player, GR Donkin. Let's take a look at sideboards. So, here is the Amulet deck list for Mr. Donkin. We got a couple of Dismembers, a couple of Trackers, Boseiju, Engineered Explosives, Fire Spout, Blasphone, Bojuka Bog, and Kozilek. As far as what do we want against Phoenix, not sure. I mean, I guess Bojuka Bog, but Fire Spout, I guess you could clean up a couple of Demoliches with that. Maybe Dismember also for Demolich. Not a ton here, though. And then for our Phoenix player, we have 4 Wear Tear, 3 Tormod's Grip, 3 Blood Moon. Those are pretty good here. A couple of Paths, a Borrower, a Brotherhood's End, and a Claw. So Wear Tear is not as good with the presence, or with the absence of Urza Saga, rather. So may not want to go towards those, even though they do still kill Amulets, so probably worth bringing in. And then definitely want the Blood Moons and the Path to Exiles. So that's a look at the sideboards there, yeah. Does the format allow new reprints from MH like Counterspell? No. If the card is legal due to its printing in a supplemental product, so that would be Horizons or Lord of the Rings, including reprints, Counterspell, Fire Ice, Lava Dart, etc., those cards are also not legal in this event. So reprints, I think the only exception is Reign of Revelation, which is a reprint that was in MH1, but reprinted in Core Set 2020. But nobody's playing that card anyways, so. Yeah, that's a good point. Where does hit Spelunking and Dryad? So it might be worth... The Wear Tears might be worth it for a Phoenix player. And then here's the Amulet list. Again, if you want all of these deck lists are public and all available. You can look at standings, you can look at deck lists. All on !Pure Modern is the link for this page if you want to take a look at any of these deck lists. What's up, Rosie Dog? Did someone give me a sub? I think so. It seems like it. Sub check? Go burn. Yeah, the burn deck. Burn deck's 3 and 1. Okay. Chris is doing okay. Yeah, this is kind of our 3-1. I do have a metagame breakdown. This is what the metagame looks like for those interested. So, a decent amount of Shadow, 4 Amulet, 2 Creativity, 2 Lantern, 2 Green Tron, 2 Dredge, and then a whole bunch of one-ofs. Merfolk, Naya, Jund, Humans, Amalia, Gifts, E-Tron, Affinity, Rack, Heliod, Winota, Blue Moon, Burn, Abzan Druid, and Jeskai Phoenix. So, that is the metagame breakdown for today's event. For those interested. Okay, looks like they're still sideboarding. Nope, never mind, we're good. Yeah, the Lantern players, we'll just say they're not doing so hot. All right, they could be doing a little bit better. I think the combined, I think they might have one match win between them, and I think that match win is a bye. So, all right, we got a Grazer for Donkin. It's gonna be Grazer into Valakut. Jeskai Phoenix on the play. Amulet up a game. Yeah, I've been talking about this a lot. I really do think that the creativity deck list that's currently undefeated, they just took an ID this round. I believe that they probably have the best deck list in the event. Yeah, I mean, we're not showing hands, so it doesn't matter. Duncan, you get to hear how I talk about how much you mess up. So I'm just kidding. Okay, so a castle, maybe another explore here. Yeah. The creativity player did come prepared for Lantern with that copy of Emrakul. All right, we have a Consider. Really wants to be able to get that Phoenix back. Ideal turn here for Mana Wargs is, a couple of cantrips, get the Phoenix back, maybe also have a Demolish. Okay, so we have a Charm, maybe a second Phoenix and a Gut Shot. No second Phoenix is kind of tough. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. You gifted 5 subs to Doomwake of all people. If you didn't get one, dodged in the chat. Thank you so much. That's very, very nice of you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Very, very generous. Thank you, thank you. It's a lot of exploring. So we have the 2 explore memes. What about the 3 explore memes? Is there some kind of judge ruling with when somebody casts 3 explorers? We're gonna need somebody to check on Donkin over there. All right, is it Charm discarding a Phoenix Demolish? I mean, if we can get these Phoenixes back and the Demolish, that would be a good turn here for Mana Wargs, but it's gonna require some free spells. Okay, there's a Tarn. We're on 2 spells right now, I believe. Charm, Thought Scour. Okay, Wear Tear for Spelunking. Do we have the Gut Shot for the Demolish is the question. That would be massive here for Mana Wargs. If we have the post-combat Gut Shot Demolish, do we have it? Does not look like we do. Donkin is just any land away from casting a Titan. Funny enough, there's the castle in play, which normally would give you enough mana on 5 lands to cast Titan, but we don't have the second green source, and there's the 4th Explorer. Okay, we gotta have... somebody's gotta check Donkin's deck. We've cast 4 Explorers this game in the top 16 cards. Alright, like, what are we doing here? Can we get a deck check on table 3? Please and thank you. What is going on here? Alright, well, Donkin on 17, facing down 6 power. Math checks out. That appears to be a 3-turn clock. Could be sped up to a 2-turn clock if we can get that Demolish into play. There's an Amulet here for Donkin. That is not great news for Mana Wargs if a land does come off the top. That would allow a Titan to be cast with haste. E, thanks again for the 5 gift. That's very, very nice of you. Appreciate that, E. Thank you, thank you. Is it Charm? Is it a Charm? Gonna be discarding a couple of cards, maybe looking for a third Phoenix. That is not the case, though. Got a Preordain here. Let's see if we can find some additional pressure, both to the bottom. Just churning through that deck, not able to find the requisite pressure. Okay, we got a Serum Visions. There's 3 spells, but no Phoenix in the graveyard. Ooh, do we have the post-combat land for this Demolich? We do not. Interesting. So, interesting decision there from Mana Wargs. We could have chosen to not cast the Charm. Oh, but we must have not had the cantrip. I was going to say we could have just went Preordained Visions, cast Demolich, but we probably didn't have the first cantrip. Our hand was probably like Charm in a couple lands. We had to lead on Charm, most likely. So, I mean, Donkey just looking for literally any land in the deck does it for Titan. I'm not quite sure how we've cast 4 Explorers and a Spelunking, and we still have not hit an additional... Oh, okay, well, there's the land. That's gonna be tough. Now, the question always is it lethal? Is it lethal? Looks like 1 or 2 4/2s make top 8 depending on who wins the match that got paired down. Yeah, there's a weird number of players. I think at least 2, maybe 3. My initial thought was 2. But it kind of, like you said, it depends on the pair down, for sure. Alright, so quick math. We have 3 floating. We could pick up T-West. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Castle makes 8. Transmute down to 5. So that's not enough to cast Titan. Because if you activate Castle, you have exactly 8 mana, I think. Because you can use Sunhome, Valakut, 2 green. 6 for Titan. Oh, you leave the Sunhome untapped. So this gets Garrison, Stronghold, haste, attack for 8, get Vesuva. Yeah, okay, that works. Right? Yeah, Garrison, Stronghold, haste, attack with Sunhome, Valakut untapped, get Vesuva, copy Garrison, any other land, double strike. That is 16 damage, and that is going to be Donkin taking the match 2-0 over Jeskai Phoenix. Okay, folks, this is it. This is the last round of Swiss before we cut this tournament from 34 players down to 8 and have a single elimination top 8. This is a pair down. We have Proggy Boog on the bottom of your screen is X and 1, got paired down into Jusupinator, who is 3 and 2. That means they cannot intentionally draw. Jusupinator is on Grixis Shadow, Proggy is on Green Tron, Proggy is on the play, and let us begin. We're going to be leading off with a power plant and a chromatic star. Ship it on over to Jusupinator. What's the gamble look like? All in on Tron, baby, huh? Looks like the folks at home think that Tron is going to win. Starting off with a Thoughtseize here for Jusupinator. We will get a look at the hand here in just a moment. Taking a Scrying, the rest of the leftovers are Urza's Tower ×2, O-Stone, and Ancient Stirrings. Definitely makes sense to take the Scrying, because otherwise you pop the star for green, get the 3rd Tron piece. Now you could potentially miss on the Stirrings. Oh, never mind. We just get Thoughtseize bugged. Sax says, what are the prizes like? So first place is 50 treasure chests. These are all on Moto treasure chests. Second place is 30 chests. Third and fourth is 15. And 5 through 8 is 5 chests. So we got Thoughtseize bugged. Scrying's going to find that 3rd Tron piece. And we will see if Jusup has a shadow. We do. Now, worth noting, very, very importantly, O-Stone needs 8 mana to activate. And I don't know if you guys are good at math like I am, but 3 + 2 + 2 is only 7, so we cannot pop that O-Stone this turn. However, we can Karn one of these shadows. Now, worth noting, Jusupinator does not have Tamer Battle Rage in the deck list. That is something that could potentially just kind of one-shot our Tron player here, but there are no copies of Battle Rage. This is kind of the deck list here. There are a bunch of creatures: Shadow, Shredder, Stalactite, Stalker, Street Wraith, Inti. A bunch of cantrips, removal spells, thought seizes, but no Battle Rages. So, interesting to keep in mind. See an expressive here. It's going to exile a Mishra's Bauble. Now, if we can find a fetch land that gets the Shadow to 8, but doesn't quite kill. So, Jesupinator's in a weird spot where if you commit another threat to the board, you know about the O-Stone. So it's kind of tough to commit a second threat here. But you also really, ideally, you would bolt the card and hit for 8, but it looks like that's not going to happen. Okay, we found Thoughtseize for the stone. That helps. The leftovers are 2 lands and a Stirrings, but yeah, you kind of have to kill the Karn here, and we do. Now the Shadow's a 10-10 with Proggy at 20. I mean, math checks out on that. So if we can fade a couple of draw steps here, we're notably no green mana for this Stirrings. So if Jesupinator can fade a draw step or 2, there's a star. That's going to cast the Stirrings. It's going to get a bunch of looks here. 6 total looks, 1 off the star, 5 off of the Stirrings. See what we find. Drum roll, please. That is a particularly good one. So we're going to be able to go Karn with 4 mana available. Probably getting a bridge would be my guess. Because this is, remember, open deck lists, and you know that there are no outs to bridge in the deck. So attack steps are now offline. You can only win the game with direct burn, and that's going to be a little difficult with Proggy at 20. So I'm going to assume this one is probably in the books. Got a preordain, taking a look, and we will see what we can find. We find nothing, and that is going to be game number 1. Remember, folks, this we believe is a win it in. This is a pair down. So Proggy is in a spot where if they win, they are 100% locked. And then I think if Jesupinator wins, we have to do a little bit of a tiebreaker sweat. So that's game number 1. We'll take a look at the deck list here very, very briefly. This is your Grixis Shadow deck. We have 3 Fatal Push. Those aren't very good here. A couple of Fables, Kolaghan's Commands, Nihil Spellbomb, Stubborn Denial, Collective Brutality, Engineered Explosives, Kroxa, Titan Death's Hunger, and Change the Equation. Likely going to want to be bringing in Kolaghan's Command to answer those bridges, and Stubborn Denial as well, another banger. And maybe wants to go toward the Kroxa as well, some combination of those. And then for a Tron player, not a lot in the sideboard because it is a Karn the Great Creator deck list. So 2 Dismembers, those would almost certainly be coming in, but if you look at the rest of the sideboard, it is all artifact targets for Karn. So probably going to bring in those Dismembers, and that is maybe about it. Yeah, Engineered Explosives could answer the bridge. It's kind of a lot more expensive, and it doesn't work against Karn, so I'm not sure that you want to go towards the Explosives, but you could if you felt like you needed it. But we'll have to see what happens in game number 2. There you go. Perfect. Kind of flying through these rounds today. All right, we are off to the races. Game number 2. Proggy won game number 1 on Tron. Yeah, it's not a very IQ play. I agree. We're going to bobble, Street Wraith, draw the card. I believe we bobbled ourselves. So we like the card on top. See, this is probably a Thoughtseize. Yep. All right. Tron keeping 7. That's always pretty scary. Looks like we have a tough decision on this Thoughtseize. Have to take a look and see what the hand looks like after the Thoughtseize resolves. What are we working with? All right, so we have selected Wormcoil Engine. The hand is Every Shadow player's nightmare. Natty Tron, All Is Dust, Ukin, and Chromatic Star. I mean, skill issue, honestly. Alright, so we have a tower and a Chromatic Star. It's going to be the play here for our Tron player. That is a tough hand to Thoughtseize. Okay, so Jessupator really needs... Oh, definitely does not need no second land, huh? That's gonna be a tough one. Get a power plant and a passing of the turn. Yeah, likely has Shadow in hand and just needed a second land there to be able to go fetch Shock Shadow. Yeah, this one's all ogre. This one is likely Jover, folks. Yeah, I definitely what I need to do for future events, Grey Will, is I need to try and reach out to sponsors because these 4 events, the reason that they're sub only is because I've been funding the prizes, and I've been taking just I'm doing it mostly for the community because I've been taking L's in these tournaments, basically all 4 of them. But I think it's really good to showcase what the format could look like, and it's a lot of fun. So it's like I don't it is what it is. But yeah, if we can find some sponsors, maybe we can make the event open and get more people involved, and that'd be good. I reached out to a couple people, but didn't get a reply, so... But maybe in the future that could change. We're gonna Noxious Revival back this Wormcoil engine. And that seems like a pretty good play, especially in the face of a potential Stubborn denial. Funny enough, Stubb's not even online, but we do know about that All Is Dust, so Stub could tag that if we go for that. So we're just going to play a Wormcoil here, and yeah, I don't really know how Jessupator gets out of this one. I mean, you are the one that chose to register Lantern. You did this to yourself. I didn't make you play Lantern. All right. Defeating a Wormcoil engine challenge level impossible, it seems like. Alright, we're going to ship it back to our Tron player. Four mana, what does that mean? That is a lot more than 4 mana. We know about the Ugin, so we can deploy that. Ugin can just kind of take care of the Shadow, given that it's only a 3/3. This one kind of seems Jover. Ooh, very, very heads-up play. We're going to bolt ourselves to turn on Stub for Ugin. Smart play here for Jessupator. I don't know if it's good enough, but a very, very heads-up play. So we can crunch in with the Wormcoil. That's going to put us to 1 and get a 12/12 Shadow. We're just going to trade. Okay, we're going to try and grind through the Wormcoil the hard way. It's a tough way to do it. Guess it's better than dying. We do still know about that All Is Dust in hand for Tron. So that's something to keep in mind moving forward. So maybe a couple of removal spells here to clear the tokens. I guess that's a good point. Yeah, the block is kind of forced because you know there's an All Is Dust. Sure, that's fair. Okay, we're going to terminate the Death Touch token. Okay. We're going to 4, and then a follow-up Shadow can maybe check the Worm token, but again, we still know about that All Is Dust in hand for Proggy. Yeah, TBR would have only been 24, and we went to 26 off the attack, right? So I think even TBR wouldn't have been lethal, and that card is not present in Jessupator's deck list. There's an EI. I don't even know what this has to be. Land, removal spell, Shadow. Trade the Shadow for the All Is Dust, and then go from there. I'll show you the metagame breakdown after this match. Okay, there's the Shadow. So, fetch Basic Island, stub the... Hold on. Do we have Basic Island? We do not have Basic Island in this deck. And there's the Ulamog anyways. Alright, that is going to be Proggy advancing into our top 8 at a 5-1 record. Congratulations to Proggy. Condolences to Giuseppinator. There you go. Top 8 on the line. Top 8, let's go. Round number 1 of top 8. We have Chris top deck on the top of your screen. Drake Haven on the bottom of your screen. Chris is playing Burn. Drake is playing Amulet. Folks at home, who do you got? Let me know in the comment section down below if you're watching this on YouTube, and let me know in chat. And our Amulet player is going to be on the play since they are the higher seed. They're actually the 2 seed, and then Chris top deck is the 7 seed. We got a really good start here for Amulet. Turn 1 Grazer into Garden, giving us 2 blockers for these Goblin Guides and Swift Spears. But Chris says, you know what? Goblin Guides, Swift Spears, we don't need those. I'm going to Lava Spike you. 17. Taste it. See what the follow-up is here for Drake Haven. Gruul Turf, Bouncing, Colony Garden. That is cheating. Just kidding. So many blockers. These, if Chris's hand is full of Goblin Guides, it's not really where you would want to be. So, like, here you're in a spot. Do you bolt the Grazer and then attack? It's kind of a tricky situation. Yeah, this Grazer is just... Grazer just soloing Burn, huh? You know, is Arboreal Grazer the best card in Magic? Duncan, you're not allowed to answer that question. Alright, Swiss Spear attacking. We're choosing to block with the plant token instead of the Grazer. Protecting that Grazer, huh? Does not want that thing to die. So we got the Colony Garden replayed. No 3-drop here. We do have, I believe, Spelunking and Dryad. I wonder, is there a Zeus's? Let me take a look. I don't recall. There are just Dryads and Spelunkings, no Azuses. So here we have a Goblin Guide coming in here. Okay. Going a little bit wide. Go wide, Joel. Wide Peepo happy, some would say. Get that Grazer out of here. We don't want it. Get it out. Alright, we're going to send with the team. Reveals a Caverns and a Summoner's Pact. We get to block one of these and fall to 11. Goblin Guide gets blocked, falling to 11. And see if we have a follow-up here. No forest in play worth noting, which means castle is offline. There are, I think, multiple castles. There are 2 castles in the Titan deck, but because there is no forest, that card is not coming into play untapped, so not going to be able to Titan this turn. We're going to Pact for Dryad. Well, funny enough, we had the castle, but because we didn't have a forest, we had to get the Dryad first. But I believe this is going to give us another turn of reprieve from a Titan, potentially. Okay, we're going to transmute T-West. This might just go get Valakut, honestly. Because you have to pay for Pact, right? So if you pay for Pact, you leave Castle plus Green Source untapped. 2 lands, you know, land, second land drop for Dryad. That still doesn't give you enough mana to play a Titan next turn, so we need something additional. So this might actually be kind of a rough spot here for Drakehaven. I'm going to send in the Clowns. Goblin Guide reveals Spelunking twice, so that is going to be the top of the card here for Drakehaven. Likely, I mean, you kind of have to block here, right? You can't, I don't think you can take this. I guess if you don't block and there's a bolt that's only a 9 damage... R. Gregory, thank you for the Prime sub. Ooh, Skullcrack here. It's going to put Drake down to 8 and then fall to 4. We're going to lose a Goblin Guide in the process. Yeah, if there is an Amulet and a bounce land on hand for Drake, then we do have enough to Titan, right? Because we tap the land, the untapped land, leave the castle untapped, play the Amulet, bounce land, that's 4 mana into castle, that's Titan. But part of me thinks that if we had a bounce land, we might have cast it last turn. Or if we had an Amulet, rather, we might have played it last turn. So I don't think there's an Amulet in Drakehaven's hand. We will have to see. We're tapping a mana, making blue. Okay, we're going to Garrison, pick up a land, play another land, and then that's going to get us to Transmute. Okay, so we play Castle, Transmute West for Valakut, play Valakut, kill a creature, and hope there's no Boros Charm on top. We're playing Spelunking. Never mind, we don't have another T-West. Do we have the Valakut naturally, is the question. They play 2 lands. Oh, right, the Garrison and then the Castle. You're right, okay. Yeah, so you wouldn't even be able to play the Valakut after that. Correct. Okay, Transmute for Pact, so we're just gonna play a Grazer with Pact in hand. Okay, we're gonna not hope that there's no Boros Charm on top. Really big draw step here for Chris. At 4 life, Boros Charm is the only card that does it this turn specifically, and you have to imagine if there's not a Boros Charm on top, lethal is coming next turn. Top of the deck, what is it? I mean, the Chris's moto name is Chris Top Deck, so I'd be shocked if they didn't draw the Boros Charm. We are going to pass the turn. No Boros Charm. That is tough. So this should be all she wrote, I would have to imagine. Well, is it lethal? Yeah, it's lethal, right? Because you just go Titan, get to... I guess you need a land? Whoa. Did we not have enough to Titan? What am I missing? How many lands do we have untapped? They used it back to get Grazer. I thought they transmitted T-West after that, though. Oh, they transmuted and then used the Pact for Grazer that turn. I see. Okay. For some reason, I thought they had a Pact left over. Well, I guess I was wrong the whole time. Searing Blaze is going to take care of Grazer, make Drakehaven fall to 1, and that is lethal if there is nothing. This is game 1, so the players have not gone to sideboarding yet. Explore on top, that's not going to do it. And that is going to be game 1 going to Chris Top Deck. Wow, amazing game. Crazy game. All right, let us take a quick look at sideboards for both of these players and see what they are working with. So, first and foremost, we have Drakehaven on Amulet Titan. Sideboard is 3 Tireless Tracker, 2 Beseiju, 2 Dismember, probably don't want those, 2 Engineered Explosives, maybe want those, couple of Fire Spouts, Cavern of Souls, Radiant Fountain, Rurikthar, and a Wormcoil. This Radiant Fountain looks good, this Wormcoil looks good, maybe the sweepers like Fire Spout or Explosives, and potentially the Beseijus if you were worried about Eidolons. But let's take a look at Chris's list. Speaking of Eidolon, there they are in the flesh. Sideboard for Chris, we have 3 Path to Exile, 3 Strict Proctor. Ooh, that one's pretty good against Amulet. 3 Deflecting Palm, 2 Rolling Vortex, 2 Smash to Smithereens, and a couple of Wear Tears. So Strict Proctor seems really good in this matchup. This is going to stop all of the triggers. It's going to stop Valakut triggers. It is going to stop Bounce Land triggers. Basically everything on the Titan turn, and even has 3 paths to go with it as well. So a lot of sideboard here for Chris. So you have to imagine, looking at the sideboards, you gotta favor Chris here in the post-board games. And Deflecting Palm as well. All right, players going into game number 2. We have a Colony Garden here for Drakehaven. Seems like the music has stopped. Oh no, it's just this song that has a 1.5-minute intro. You're going to get jump scared. And yep, okay, you got jump scared. Monastery is supposed to be here on turn 1. Going to get blocked by the plant token. Another thing that Strict Proctor shuts down. Yes, Burn has won game number 1. That was on the draw, by the way. Drake was the higher seed, so Burn won that game on the draw. That was fairly impressive. Drake did kind of break off a little bit towards the end, so. All right, second Monastery Swift Spear here for Chris. Now, we did talk about the engineered explosives in the sideboard. This would be a little bit awkward here because, yes, you would want to kill the Swift Spears, but it would also blow up your own amulet. So it's not clear that you would necessarily want to even do that here. Maybe looking for something like a Fire Spout. That's probably one of Drake's best follow-ups here. We will have to see what they have. So, starting with the Gruul Turf, I'm going to float 2 mana, pick up that Gruul Turf. Looks like we have a 3-drop here. Dryad. Okay, Dryad's pretty good, drawing the natural Valakut too. Maybe we could even see... Okay, never. I was going to say pick up Garden, play Spelunking. Second Dryad, holding the bounce lane on hand probably. Well, this is going to be the turn. Chris really needs one of those sideboard cards. Path to Exile, Deflecting Palm, Strict Proctor. Any of those would be very, very good. We're going to send in with both Swift Spears. If you're Drake here, do you block? We're going to block 1. So we're okay with losing the Dryad. Or losing one of the Dryads, rather. So Dryad's going to get Searing Blaze. That's going to put Drake down to 10. So with Bounce Lane in hand, 2 land drops, that my math checks that is 6 mana. Now, obviously, Chris does have that 1 mana untap, so could have Path to Exile. It is Shuto, yes. Modern without... Oh, Drew the Slayer Stronghold. Modern without Horizons, 1, 2, or Lord of the Rings. That is what we are playing today. So, awkwardly couldn't go... Okay, we're going to Grazer here. I see. So Grazer, Bounce Land, that gets us to 6. But because we drew the Strongholds, we had to do this in an awkward way where we couldn't just Bounce Land twice. So that is 6 mana. It's going to be Titan. So math time here. We have to get Vesuva. Vesuva copy Stronghold Garrison. Pick up the Vesuva. So that is no Valakut triggers there. And then it's 8, 10, plus... I think it's only 16. That's assuming there's no path either. But I think I only counted 16. I don't know if maybe can somebody double check my math here. Because I got 8 from Titan, 2 from Dryad, that's 10, plus 2 Valakut triggers in combat, that's 16. I may have done my math wrong. Because you... Oh, you get the second Valakut, right, okay. Yeah, I think there's 2 Valakuts, right? Let me just double check. There is 2 Valakuts, okay. So we just get second Valakuts, that's 12. That would be 22. Again, assuming there's no path. I counted 22. We're in combat. Does Chris have the path? Well, the Vesuva's in hand, remember. Okay, no path to exile. That should be all she wrote. Yeah, don't even need to attack with the Dryad. Should be exactly 20. Yeah. But yeah, you just get second Valakut plus whatever. 12 plus 8 is 20. And you don't even have to worry about Palm. Not that Palm would be lethal anyways, but... Alright, we are going to be going to a deciding game number 3. Burn versus Amulet. Let's see. The Twitch chat has... Well, I mean, Burn is on the play for game 3, but this is... that's quite the prediction right there. We'll have to see if maybe the 1-4 can get paid out here for the Gamba. But the believers might be a little... Or the doubters, rather. The Amulet believers might be a little scared now. Alright, game 3. Burn on the play, and especially with all of those sideboard cards. Like we saw Chris's sideboard, there's just almost the entire sideboard is geared towards Amulet. Proctors, Paths, Deflecting Palms, just so many cards for Chris in the sideboard here. And obviously was unable to find one of those sideboard cards in the last game. We're going to start off with a Swiss Spear. It's going to connect for 1. Oh, turn 1 Radiant Fountain. Game over. Amulet of Vigor. You could not craft a better turn 1 against Burn. All right, second copy of Swiss Spear. Do we have any... Ooh, no second land here for Chris? Is that what's going on? Ooh, tough scenes. No, Chris... Looks like Chris kept a 1-lander and did not find the second land. And we have a bounce land. This one's looking tough for our burn player here, folks. Gonna oh my god, pick up the Radiant Fountain and put it back into play off the Spelunking. Oh my goodness. You know what? We'd rather have the blocker this turn. Do we have a Grazer too? Please don't. Okay, no Grazer. Not quite that lucky. Play with fire. Get that token out of here. Oh, we're going upstairs. Okay. I guess it's the same amount of damage. Assuming there's a block. Rather get the scry. And we shipped 1 to the bottom. My guess is that Chris's hand is just all sideboard cards and kept the 1-lander. Chris has 1 copy of Play with Fire in the deck. It's possible they drew it for turn. Oh, it's just over. It's actually just over. Okay, there's a Dryad. There's a Fountain. And the Natty Valakut. Rock says, what is pure modern? It is the same modern format that you are used to. The only difference is there is no Modern Horizons 1, 2, or Lord of the Rings. Those sets have been removed. Suspending a Rift Bolt here, that is tough. Yeah, really, really rough stuff here for Chris. We have to imagine this game is probably over. Alright, there's land. We get the trigger Valakut this turn. Yeah, I mean, at 17, while triggering Valakut against a 1-land opponent, I don't really see a way out here for... you know what? I want to see an attack from Dryad. Come on. Turn him sideways, baby. Just turn that thing sideways. Yeah, we got a Rift Bolt going upstairs. I mean, at this point, even the sideboard cards are probably not good enough. Yeah, here's the Proctor, but it's a little late to the party. We could just play a land and kill it. Just pay 2 mana to kill it. Proctor is good, but it's not good on turn 5. It's better on turn 2. Yeah, my guess is they probably kept a hand that was double Swiss Spear, Strict Proctor, maybe like 1 or 2 burn spells, and 1 land. Just didn't draw the second land. That's probably what happened. You can even no sir the Growth Chamber trigger to not have to pick up a land. That's funny. Don't even have to pick up the land if we don't want to. Yeah. They're actually choosing not to. That's funny. Just like, you know what? I don't want to pick up a land. I will kill your Strict Proctor, though. That guy can get out of here. That thing can kindly leave. And we have another land here. It's going to kill the Swiss Spear. Is there a Primeval Titan just to put the cherry on top? Put them out of their misery? Oh, yeah. We're done. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, not quite Primeval Titan, but arguably better. It's the 5th Primeval Titan that gets you. Primeval Engine. Wormcoil Titan. 07s for Chris, folks. Chris put up a very, very valiant effort. But I believe this is not going to be good enough. Skewer the critics. I mean, maybe if there's a path. No, not quite. Yeah, put Drake to 5, 1 card in hand. We're going to go back up to 11, and basically drawing dead. Oh, now literally drawing dead. That is going to do it. Drake Haven advancing over Chris Top Deck. Congratulations to our Amulet player, and condolences for the burn voters in the chat. Also, condolences to Chris Top Deck. Thank you again for participating. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you had a great time. All right, folks, this is your top 4 match. Amulet Titan on the top of your screen against Indomitable Creativity on the bottom of your screen. Let us begin, folks. Remember, play draw is based on seeding. So that means we have Drake, who is, I believe Drake was the 2 seed. Yeah, Drake is the 2 seed. And our creativity player is the 3 seed. And then in the other match, one thing I will say for you Tron believers out there, Tron is the 1 seed, so Tron does get to go play first in the other match against Donkin on Amulet, who is the 5 seed, so keep that in mind. But with all that said, let's begin. We have a Boseiju and an Amulet on turn 1 here for Drake, as well as a Jetmir's Garden from Death from Above. Oh, second Amulet. Do we have a turn 2 kill? Chat, I think we might have a turn 2 kill, folks. That's 4 mana. Oh, God. Shorv says, I regret everything. Quick, slam the over on Amulet. Nobody last minute voted. Alright, well, yeah, double Amulet, Explore, that's 6 mana. Is there a Primeval Titan? Spelunking, 3 floating, while 7 with the bounce land. Turns out, even without Urza Saga, if you just open on 2 Amulets, who cares? You know, you don't need Urza Saga if you just draw 2 Amulets. So we're going to have 7 mana here. That is more than enough to cast a Primeval Titan, if that is... Yeah, the Gamba was still open when they played turn 1 Amulet. And there it is. Lethal, right? Yeah. Because you go Garrison, Stronghold 10, Vesuva, Double Strike Land 20. It's not lethal. How is it not lethal? You can say no to Spelunking. Spelunking is a May. It says wait, is it? Oh, because you can't no-sir this land. You can no-sir this, but you can't no-sir this. Oh, right. Okay, so it does make it awkward. Sure. So it's actually only 16, right? I mean, it's not really like Death from Above has any good plays next turn, besides, I guess, Binding on Titan. I don't know if that's good enough, but, you know, it is still 16 damage. That is lethal. How is it lethal? No, they're short. Yeah, it's only 16. So we're going to go with T-West Growth Chamber. Pick up T-West for next turn. Yeah, I mean, again, Death from Above could have a Binding, and that's, you know, basically it's Binding or Death, obviously, and that's a prerequisite of even just playing the rest of the game. You need a Binding here, or you're just dead. But even if there is a Binding, we just have the Growth Chamber, or sorry, we have the Teleria West to get packed, and I believe we still had a Bounce Land left over, I think, but I can't remember. I think we still have a Growth Chamber in hand. Do we know about Boseiju? Did we? Oh, they picked up Boseiju because they played that on turn 1. Right, okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's not even good enough. Even if there is a creativity, the Boseiju is known information. I mean, I guess you can just let them... You have to, like, let them go to combat? Well, it doesn't even matter, because, yeah, no matter what, I don't think it matters. Yeah, I don't think it matters. Double Leyline. They do not have the ability to cast Double Leyline, because they can't fetch an untapped blue-black-white Saurus. Yeah. You could even let the binding die, and then get the trigger from Titan, haste it again, and stuff. Whatever. It's oh right, they could fetch a Sacred Foundry off of the Boseiju and then have a second binding. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, they fetch Foundry, have second binding, but it looks like that's not the case. So this will most certainly be lethal here. Now we just get the double strike land. Yep, cool. And that is going to do it for game number 1. Amulet, drawing double Amulet and winning. I'm shocked. I'll tell you that much. Okay, so moving on to sideboard, we did take a look at Drake's deck in the last match, but we'll also take a look one more time, and then we'll get to show you the creativity deck. So Drake has 3 Tireless Tracker, 2 Boseiju, 2 Dismember, 2 Engineered Explosives, 2 Fire Spout, a Cavern of Souls, a Radiant Fountain, a Rurkthar, and a Worm Coil Engine. Probably wants to go towards Boseiju to blow up Binding. Past that, you could maybe consider Explosives to be able to blow up Dwarven Mine tokens at instant speed against Creativity. Maybe that's something you want to go towards. Not sure. But that's pretty much it. As far as the creativity deck is concerned, we have 3 Silence, 3 Veil of Summer, 2 Terastodon, 2 Alpine Moon, 2 Brotherhood's End, an Elesh Norn, an Iona, and a Plains. So this is probably one of those matchups where you would want to bring... Oh, no, this is the wrong Elesh Norn. I kept thinking this was, excuse me, Mother of Machines. Grand Cenobite, probably not great against in this matchup. So we're going to go for Terastodon, I would assume. So your cyber plan is probably swap the creatures for Terastodons, and then you maybe want to go towards Silence. Not sure what else you would want to go towards. Maybe Silence, probably Alpine Moon. You could trim on, like, Spell Pierce is not that great in this matchup. Bolt's a little awkward. You could trim on those kind of cards and bring in Silence and Alpine Moon. Yeah, do you want Iona? You just named green. It might be good. Not sure. You definitely want the Terastodons, though, for sure. Like, that seems like a slam dunk. All right, we're getting into game number 2. So we have a Spell Pierce on a turn 1 Amulet. So that's nice for Death from Above to kind of get that Amulet out of here. Leading that into a Preordain. Looking for, I mean, ideally, assuming that those Terastodons came in over the other creativity targets, probably just, wants to get to that as quickly as possible. It's also possible that Drake may have boarded in the Dismembers, because, okay, there's the Explosives. That does kind of make sense. I was going to say, in spots where you just want to get to, like, hold up a mana for creativity X equals 1. But EE does the job a little bit better, because that even cuts off creativity X equals 2. Yes, this is top 4. So this is for our first top 4 match, and our other top 4 match is Tron against Amulet. So 2 Amulet decks, a Tron deck, and a creativity deck. Alright, so just a Valakut here for Drake. It turns out without Amulet of Vigor, this deck is a lot less explosive. Okay, Teferi's kind of sick here, because you can... I'm not sure that I want to minus that turn. I was going to say plus the Teferi this turn. Next turn, you minus the explosives, and then pop the Mire. So, not sure about that Teferi bounce there. It's kind of interesting. Maybe the plan is to go end of turn, fetch Triome, untap, play fetch, binding explosives, fetch for Dwarven Mine, and then creativity. Maybe that's the plan. Because I can't imagine you would bounce the EE unless you had a binding in hand. Or just, I guess you just want to dig for creativity at that point. But you would still rather Teferi bounce the explosives the turn after, right? I think. Okay, we are going to get the Black Saurus. So we have 5 colors. If our hand is binding, fetch land, creativity, we can go off here. Okay, we're starting with a Preordain, so we can't remove that explosives. To see what the follow-up is here for Death from Above. Yeah, there's the mine. But again, against that active explosives, that creativity is not good enough. Now, you can instant speed the creativity with Teferi Uptick. Ooh, so what we could see... Okay, we're going to go for silence here. I don't hate that. Buy yourself a little bit of time. I was going to say maybe there's a Titan cast and you respond to Titan and pop the... And then, you get Drake to tap out, response to Titan trigger, pop the Dwarf token, Terastodon, go from there. So what do we have here? Another Dwarven Mine. It's kind of awkward against that explosives, huh? Bickler says, "Hi Doom, hope you're doing fantastic. Question: I'm playing Nissa Jund for now, and it's tons of fun. Friends trying to get me on Sagavan. More of the fact to win some tournaments. I'm not exactly familiar with Nissa Jund, but I mean Sagavan is a good deck. Okay, so we are going to pop the explosives. We have a second Teferi. That's going to bounce the Amulet, but we have enough mana to use the Valakut for Amulet and then float into Castle for Titan. So, yeah. This one might be a bit tough. I'm assuming there's no binding in hand. Because if you had binding, you would maybe... Nah, you probably wouldn't binding the Amulet. Okay, well, there's the Titan. Have to see what, if anything, Death from Above has. You're going for Growth Chamber Valakut. That's interesting. Why would we go for Growth Chamber Valakut? We have Dried in hand? Okay. I'm with you. Yeah. Kind of curious. The only issue with this line is now, like, I think what the theory is that you're trying to play around binding on Titan, but now binding can just kill the instant speed flame slash. Wow, that's quite the swing, quite the turnaround. Because now, if you do have binding for Titan and there's no Boseiju on Drake's side, then things could get a little awkward. We have another explosives. Instant speed flame slash, that's pretty sick. There's a stomping ground. Gotta imagine Death from Above probably just getting really flooded this game. Yeah, looks like just a bunch of reactive cards in hand. Was never really able to set up for... I really do think this game could have been different. I mean, maybe Death from Above never had the creativity anyways, but I think this game, if creativity is in hand, it could have been a little different if we had plus Teferi that one turn, next turn down tick and go into creativity. But again, I can't see the hand. I don't know if there's a creativity in hand for Death from Above. And there is the Colossus. Cultivator Colossus. Do we have a response here from Death from Above? Doesn't look like it. Just going off with Colossus. That can't be good news for our creativity player. Whole bunch of mana, bunch of amulet triggers. Oops, that's going to be all this mana. Doesn't appear to have a haste land pre-combat to haste the Colossus. So at least a little bit of reprieve for Death from Above. But, I mean, see, here's the weird spot where if you sideboarded in Terastodon instead of Atraxa/Emrakul. So Rurikthar. What I was gonna say is that even if you did that, it's not clear that Terastodon beats this board, right? Yeah, okay, we're off it. That is going to be the match. Congratulations to Drakehaven advancing to the finals. And condolences to Death from Above. We are here. We have made it all the way through this grueling 5 hours and 20 minutes, and we have made it all the way to the finals. We have 2 players remaining, Drakehaven on the top of your screen, playing Amulet Titan, and GR Duncan on the bottom of your screen, also playing Amulet Titan. Is Spelunking the best card in Pure Modern? Question mark. Funny enough, these players, I was told by Donkin, I believe that they did do some testing together, so they are playing extremely similar lists, and they both made it to the finals. So apparently, Amulet is just cooking, and maybe the best deck in Pure Modern? Question mark. What I'm kind of wondering is like, I was almost thinking about doing a tournament series where we have like the winner of the event. I was gonna say that's stupid. The winner of the event gets to ban a card or something, but obviously these players wouldn't ban Primeval Titan. I don't know. Like we could kind of maybe explore doing some sort of ban list in the future. I'm not sure what that would look like though. All right, so we have a Spelunking here for Drakehaven. There was actually a Blue Moon deck that looked pretty interesting that Corey played, but I think Corey went 0-2 draw. Not sure if he got the Titan pairings. Yeah, no, that would be kind of stupid, right? We'd probably have to have some kind of community vote of like you take a look at the best performing cards of the event and do a poll of like which one of these should be banned for the next event, something along those lines. All right, we got a Dryad here for Donkin. Natural Valakut. Worth noting, neither player having an amulet. Oh, come on, do it. Attack. You know you want to attack that Grazer. Worth noting, neither player with an amulet in play, but Drake does have a Spelunking, so that could maybe get them somewhere. It's a Growth Chamber. It's going to enter untapped with the Spelunking. We could maybe float a blue with West, pick it up. We are picking up Garrison. That's interesting. We're picking up Growth Chamber? Huh. Okay. Let him cook. There is another Spelunking. Yeah, who has Blood Moon in the sideboard? Is that the new meta for Pure Modern 5? Amulet with Blood Moon in the sideboard? I mean, both these players have 4 Boseijus, too. We have a Grazer. Boseiju is a powerful enough card that it kind of feels like a Modern Horizons card, doesn't it, at some points? It's super messed up. So now we're going to pick up the West. We're going to throw that one in the graveyard to find a Pact for next turn. Yeah, looking at how well Amulet did, I bet a lot of people who played blue wish they registered Aether Gust. Alright, so Drakehaven set up to essentially go off next turn. We know about the Pact in hand, has the Dryad, and yeah, we'll see what Donkin has. If maybe Donkin can get a Titan of their own onto the battlefield. Yeah, I mean, what's the worst one? The worst one is probably Iganjo, and it's still really good. That cycle is just so powerful. Yeah, Takuduma maybe, but all the scam decks have Takuduma. Sorry, I was muted. People always like to conceptualize cards and decks based on the top percentages of their draws, right? And what people don't realize is they don't appreciate stuff that prevents flood insurance, you know? People like especially cards like Beseju that are just mainstays, like they just don't realize how powerful flood insurance is because you know when you play a game of Magic, you're gonna flood at some point. It's just bound to happen, you know. So people just don't appreciate that kind of stuff. All right, Donkin's not doing a lot here. I mean, yeah, looks like spelunking diff. Again, that's it is pretty, you know, it is relatively impressive to see this is the finals of the first pure modern tournament we've held since LCI has come out, and both of these decks just have 4 spelunking. Something to keep in mind as well. So LCI making its name known in the pure modern format. We get a draw steps top here, so it looks like a Beseju for Donkin, but what are we targeting is the question. Is there a good target? I guess Dryad? Okay, it looks like we're going to hold on. Oh, you know what's really funny about spelunking? So here's the thing, right? Traditionally speaking, if you have Amulet in play and you go for Primeval Titan, you can Beseju the Slayer's Stronghold before it untaps the Amulet. The problem is, with Spelunking, the land enters the battlefield untapped, so you don't have a window to Beseju the Haste land before they get to untap it, so kind of awkward here for Donkin. That's exactly what's going to happen. Now, I don't believe this is lethal because you can Beseju the Dryad. Yep, so we can go. We're gonna haste the Titan. That is the line that we're going with. Now the question is, can we get a second Dryad onto the battlefield? I don't think we can, right? I want to say we've played 2 lands. No, we've only played 1 land, so we still have a land drop to give. Titan's gonna come in. Do I think it would be a scheduled quarterly pure modern tourney or what? Excuse me. Somebody in chat pointed out a good suggestion that we could do a new tournament every time a new set comes out to see how that new set impacts the format, if at all, in any meaningful way. So that could be something we do in the future. Just look towards like doing them when the new set drops. I think that's a good idea. So I guess at that point it would be closer to every other month, right? Roughly, give or take. Sets aren't always like that, but I think it makes sense to do one when a new set comes out. Interesting play here from Donkin. We're gonna besiege you the besiege you so Drake can't pick it up. Wow, that is a really heads up play because Drake kind of knew about the Beseju, so Drake decided to not get Valakut because if you get Valakut, Dryad gets blown up. Chose to go for Beseju bounce land, but still the Beseju gets Beseju'd because Donkin's in a position where Donkin does not want Drake to have a Beseju, so that Beseju could kill his own Dryad. So it's this really weird like back and forth that's going on. It's very very interesting. We're having a Beseju standoff, as it were. Okay, we're gonna upkeep Beseju Dryad. Make players mandatory to play at least 6 cards from the new set, excluding lands would be cool. I don't like putting restrictions on deck building. Like that, you know what I mean? Like saying you have to play 6 cards from this set. I don't like stuff like that. I mean, sure, you could say, like, banning the Horizons cards is a restriction, but it's a lot easier to understand. This is just basically Amulet Kiwi Splat. This is an Amulet mirror. Yeah. You must play Serrated Arrows. Good throwback. Very, very good throwback. Didn't they used to... Oh, Drakehaven wins. Okay. So a little too much for Donkey to overcome there. But let's take a look at the sideboards. Again, these players did work with each other, and they are in the finals, so pretty hilarious how that works out. So here's Drake's list. Drake is up a game. We got some trackers, Besajus, Dismembers, Explosives, Fire Spouts, a Cavern, a Radiant Fountain, a Rurkthar, and a Wormcoil Engine. So what is coming in here? Probably Besaju, maybe Dismember for Dryad. I would assume not much else past that, question mark. And then for Donkin, very similar sideboard, three Dismember, 3 Tracker, 2 Besaju, 2 Explosives, 2 Fire Spout, a Blast Zone, a Bajuka Bog, and a Kozilek. Yeah, I mean, Besaju, Dismember, I think both of these players will essentially be doing the exact same sideboarding, and yeah, that's, I don't know, not a ton else to say about that. But yeah, worth noting, neither player that game had an amulet. I will say Drake had a Spelunking, so it was like his effective amulet, but not a true amulet. Play Kozilek in haste. Now we're talking. All right, so Donkin is going to be on the play for game numero dos. It's going to be a forest here from Donkin, a shipping of the turn. Slightly less nice forest here for Drake with a Grazer and a Growth Chamber. Just based on a basic forest choice alone, I would probably want to root for Donkin here, but... Okay, there's a Besaju and an Explore, it looks like. And what is the follow-up? Get a bounce land, pick up Besaju. Some things to think about. Castle Garenbrig. Okay. So, as of right now, no means to a turn 3 Titan here for Donkin. And notably for Drakehaven, if there is a Castle Garenbrig, that could be a turn 3 Titan of their own. Got a Spelunking here for Donkin. It's going to pick up a fresh card, put a land into play if they have one. Here's the Growth Chamber. It's going to enter untapped, probably pick up the Besaju. We have one additional land drop, so we can maybe go play a land, hold up Besaju. Now here's the question. If you're in Donkin's position, do you fire off the Besaju on Growth Chamber to play around Castle? I kind of think you're supposed to. It's another Growth Chamber. 2 mana here. Okay, we are going to go after the Growth Chamber. I think I like that play. Just it's so much of a disaster if you don't Besage the Growth Chamber and Drake does have the castle, because you can't respond to them just playing a land and making 6 mana. And Drake did have the castle, so very, very heads up play here for Donkin. And you'll take a look on Donkin's battlefield. We have 4 mana and a castle of our own, so Donkin does have Titan mana and Spelunking in play to go ahead and give that Titan haste. And one thing we mentioned in the last game, talking about this, Spelunking, unlike Amulet, traditionally speaking, there is a window. Ooh, Besage on Stronghold. Traditionally speaking, if you have an amulet in play, there's a window for you to Beseiju the Slayer stronghold before it untaps, but you can't do that with spelunking. If you let if you let the lands come into play, they just come into play tap. There is no trigger to untap them, so you just get to immediately fire off that Titan here, the haste on the Titan rather. So if you have a Beseiju for Drake, you probably have to go after spelunking, and it looks like that's not happening. So Hasty Titan is going to be coming in here. Yep, as we talked about, lands coming into play untapped, so no window to Beseiju. Yep, it's going to be haste on Titan. We're going to get in there for 8. Not sure what Donkin wants to grab off of this trigger, though. Maybe something like a Growth Chamber and a T-West for next turn. Because then you have a second Growth Chamber for second blue. Could see that. Looks like that's what we go with. And Duncan wins. Drake said, I've had enough, and we will be going to game number 3. Chat, I need you to get more excited. All of the marbles, this is the last match of the event. The last match, the last game. Y'all get it. Y'all better get hype. Yeah, being on the play turns out pretty good. And, well, I mean, Drake was the higher seed, so Drake won game 1, Duncan won game 2, and we're going to have Drake on the play for game number 3, the very last game of the tournament. Yeah, finals is Titan versus Titan. I mean, I knew that Titan was going to be good and, like, popular and good because of spelunking, and we haven't had a tournament since LCI, so I knew that it was going to be very good. I didn't quite expect to mirror in the finals, but I knew it was going to be good. All right, here it is, folks. Last game of the tournament. Spam Joels for the one last time. Let's get a wall of Joels in chat. All right, looks like both players keeping 7. We have Drake on the play, and the first time we've seen that card. That's a turn 1 Amulet here for Drake on a 7-card hand. That is going to be tough for Donkin. Okay, Beseiju. Do we have our own Amulet? Oh, we have a Grazer. Not quite the same thing. This is where if I had an advantage bar, I would take that advantage bar and I would turn it basically all the way to Drake, especially if you have a bounce land. All right, well, there's the bounce land. Growth Chamber going to untap, float some mana. And that is 3 mana. Dry. Drake just kind of has it all this game, huh? Was on the play with the Amulet and the bounce land and the Dryad. I mean, Donkin can. So what's Donkin's, kind of answer here? Without an Amulet of his own, not really a ton here. I mean, you can go Forest, Dryad, play a land, but you can't hold up a Beseiju that way. It's really rough here. It's gonna be a tricky spot for Donkin to navigate. Okay, there's that Beseiju. Spelunking. Okay, so this is good if we have a green bounce land, because we can go green bounce land, untapped, pick up Beseiju. Do we have the green bounce land? That works. That works, right? Yeah, that works. Okay. Oh, no, because we can't pick up the Beseiju. We could have a Beseiju in hand, I guess. Okay, this also works. So Citadel, yeah, Rod Farm, pick up a Seiju. Okay, okay. We're not quite out of the woods yet, but does have a little bit of reprieve here. So now, if you're Drake and you play that bounce land, oh, love it. Come on, do it, Donkin, please. The people want the Grazer attack. Come on, Donkin. The people at home want the Grazer attack. I can't. So now if you're Donkin, do you fire off this Beseiju immediately? Choosing not to. Interesting. We're going to hold it for the haste land. Yeah, I mean, you do get punished pretty hard if there is just another bounce land in hand for Drake, so everybody wants to see the Grazer attack. I just can't. What if Drake just doesn't block? You know? Then you win the game. Okay, so we're thinking about what to bounce off of the growth chamber. Hmm. Tricky, tricky spot. Okay, well, we have an update. Donkin said in the chat he misclicked. Rough. Presagiing the Dryad now. Okay, so one, two. Well, theoretically, there's no additional land drop, so maybe this still keeps Drake off of a Titan for a turn. So I guess we were intending to kill the bounce land, but looks like there was a misclick here for Donkin. Unfortunate. So we're going to pact with two floating. We've already played our land for the turn. We cannot get to six. Oh, we can. Grazer. Yep, okay. Grazer, Growth Chamber, Titan, etc., etc. L plus ratio, yada yada. So that will give Drake access to 6 mana. Girlfriend hit me with the, "Have you been in this tournament all day?" And I panicked. You hate to see it. I thought you were saving it for the Hasteland, but turns out that was not the case. So there is the 6 mana required for. Chat, it is time. When nature calls, people run. Everybody people run. Or scatter, whichever you prefer. Primeval Titan. So, Amulet in play, we can get a Hasteland and the Boros Garrison. That's an attack for 8. That is going to be an attack for 8. We're going to pick up the Hasteland. And what lands will we get? It's not looking great for Donkin here. Well, at least Donkin at least the if you lose, you can blame it on your girlfriend, right? It wasn't your fault. So we got a Teleria West and a Castle Garenbrig picked up here for Drake. I'm gonna soak up some damage here, get these Grazers out of here. I guess that's why we didn't attack. Unfortunate. Ooh, Beseiju on Rot Farm. So, if our hand is Castle Titan, we can do things. Do we have Castle Titan? Or I guess just any land, right? Yeah, any land would do it. Or any bounce land, rather. Got something. Dryad, but only 4 lands. Dryad Amulet, 1 card in hand. I do not think that is going to be enough. Maybe Drakehaven forgets to pay for the pact? Question mark? It's probably Donkin's only out at this point. All right, in a series of unfortunate events for Donkin, it looks like Drake is not going to forget to pay for that pact. We're going to tap 4 mana. And go Bounce Land, pick up T-West, Transmute, Pact, Dryad, and that should be all she wrote. That is 6 mana. Yeah, I don't think you're getting an untap step, Donkin. Okay, we're going to attacks. Something tells me Donkin is not getting an untap step. Although the attack first makes me believe that we must not have another bounce land. Because if we had bounce land, we could have just went 6 mana pre-combat, pick up West, transmute Dryad attack, Valakut copy. That's 18-24. I guess it's still too short. Oh no, because additional land drop, yeah, it would be 33 at that point. Okay, T-West, 2 floating. So yeah, now you just go Dryad, Pact Dryad, then you kill Donkin's Dryad. It's like Drakehaven smells blood. There's the Dryad. Now, how many land drops do we have? We have 2, right? I don't think we played a land this turn, to my knowledge. I don't believe so. Okay, there's the Explorer. That gets us the 2nd land drop. Dryad dead. Now, if you're in Duncan's position, do you have outs here? So only 5 mana in play. Draw land for Titan. Where does that get you? Not really anywhere. Like, you can haste Titan and attack for some damage, but it's not really enough, right? Even if you draw land here. I can't imagine any way out. And that is going to do it. Congratulations to Drakehaven. Now, players did split the finals prizes even down the middle, but we're playing for bragging rights and VIP/mod in the channel. So, congratulations to Drakehaven. Let's get some claps in the chat all around. Thank you to everybody who participated. Congratulations again to Drakehaven. And that was awesome. Really, really fun tournament. Let's go.